just to quote her, specifically said that the rough guidelines for her high-fat carnivore diet way of eating that is so good for women of all ages and for hormone healing as well is 1 stick of butter a day at least. She puts a lot of her clients who need to do more healing on 2 sticks of butter a day. Ground beef is the cheapest option, and I specifically got the chuck version. So this ground beef is from the chuck cut, which means it is tender, fatty, and delicious. As you can see, it also is labeled 80-20, so that's actually ideal. According to Dr. Bright, you don't have to obsess over numbers, track and perfect it to the point where everything you eat is 80-20. It's always nice to just know that the ground beef that you're eating is already in the ideal ratio. So 80-20 ground beef. And then I got 2 boxes, 2 dozens of eggs, and these are Happy Egg brand, which I have heard so many great things about. When you can get high quality at still a very budget-friendly price, that is ideal. So we want quality over quantity. That's why I opted out of their cage-free, super cheap eggs, because at the end of the day, we still want nutrient-dense, quality carnivore foods. So these Happy Eggs are a perfect in-the-middle option. 2 of these 8-ounce blocks of Kerrygold butter right here at $4.18 per block. And by the way, each block is 8 ounces, which is 227 grams. I highly recommend that you guys go by appetite when it comes to the amount of food. For my females who have a lot to heal, who still have a cycle, your appetite and your hunger and cravings for amounts of fat will in fact change day to day. For example, me, I crave extremely high amounts of fat the days leading up to my period and all throughout my cycle. From day 1 of carnivore, I have always eaten extremely high fat, at least 1 stick of butter a day, and I credit that to why I healed so quickly, how I got my period back within just 2 months of carnivore. I highly recommend that you slowly work your way up to more and more fat. I would actually start off with just 1 sliver more per day. Exactly like how I cut it, that is 1 sliver. Just work up per day, 1 sliver per day. And if that is too much, I would honestly do 1 extra sliver more per 2 to 3 days. Whatever it takes for your body to easily transition and work up the tolerance. Sauteing the ground beef loose, which means I won't be shaping it into patties or any meatball sizes. It's just going to be loose ground beef. And here's a quick trick to make the ground beef cook even quicker is to do a steam saute. So just put a tiny bit of water in the pan to get that ground beef cooking faster. Once your pot of water is to a boil, you can add in your eggs to start hard boiling. I usually boil for a total of 8 minutes. Here's the ground beef after 5 minutes of cooking. You can see that the water is starting to evaporate. Feel free to season however you like. Once your boiled eggs are done, you can transfer them to an ice bath, which is water with ice, cold bowl of water, to prevent the eggs from cooking further and to make it extremely easy to peel. We're going to aim for 3 meals a day to start off this high-fat protocol, which is what Dr. Bright recommends. 3 meals a day, which means you can slice that stick of butter to 3 equal parts. Here's the final presentation. I have 4 slivers of butter, which is 1/3 of that stick of butter already in my first meal. And please note that I purposely topped the meal with chilled solid butter. Why? Because this is so much easier for your body to digest. Anything that is solid, chilled, cold, frozen even when it comes to fats is easier for the body to digest and retain. Anything that is melted, rendered, hot and liquidy is going to go right through you. It's going to cause nausea, diarrhea, and acid reflux. So that's why throughout this video, you will see that I never cook the butter. I always top my meals with the butter or incorporate it in ways where it is still solid. We're going to smash those boiled eggs first and add that 1/3 of butter into the smashed eggs and mix that all up. Really blend it in, incorporate that solid butter as much as possible into the egg salad. Here's the egg salad with the full 1/3 block of butter incorporated in. You can store this in a Tupperware container and enjoy it throughout the week. You can eat it chilled. You can eat it room temperature, slightly warm. Again, I would not eat this hot because all that butter and fat in this salad will melt and cause nausea. I have split that ground beef block to another quarter, and I'm going to take that quarter of meat, mash it into burger patties, and start cooking. This is a good time to, again, season how you love, salt and pepper, whatever seasoning, spices you love. You can add it to the ground beef, cover that pan so the grease does not get everywhere, and I'm going to cook each side for about 3 to 4 minutes on medium-high heat. This right here is that dangerous rendered hot melted fat. I would avoid this at all costs, especially if you are new to high fat eating, if you are new to carnivore diet in general, because this ingredient right here, hot melted fat, will give you so many issues like nausea, heartburn, acid reflux, diarrhea, bad digestion, bloat, gas. Don't throw it away because you can save it, put it in a glass jar or a glass cup, and use it as your go-to cooking oil. Topping those slivers on each of the burger patties. I actually even recommend eating your burger patties at room temperature and not piping hot, because that 80/20 ground beef is going to have a lot of fat in it. And again, any type of fat is easier to digest when it's cooled down. I would top that chilled egg salad with that chunk of butter already incorporated in it, and then top it off with a sliver of cold sliced butter. And this right here is going to give you smooth digestion. You're going to easily and enjoyably eat this meal with no issues, no nausea, and no heartburn. So again, if you are completely new to this high fat lifestyle, I really would ease my way into it. Now we move on to high fat meals that are higher in quality and better for my sensitive healers. This is pasture raised bone in short rib. And these will also be extremely supportive to the 1 stick of butter a day, but without the need for butter. Because there is so much fat in these beef short ribs, we can just have this as a standalone meal, and it's going to be enough fat for the day. So I'm going to be cooking these in the oven. I have lined a baking sheet with parchment paper, and I'm going to lay these beef short ribs across the parchment paper and put it in the oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. I will be cooking for a total of 50 minutes. We're going to be needing eggs, some water, or honestly any liquid that you like. You can use bone broth, you can use milk. I'll just be using water for this egg pudding. You're going to need to get a pot of water to a boil while we prep the egg pudding mix. Any eggs will do. You can even do duck eggs, goose eggs, whatever eggs you want. It is just 1-to-1 ratio. So I'm matching it with water today. 4 eggs to the exact same amount in water into the egg pudding bowl. Then mix everything up really well. The more beat up this egg mixture is, the smoother your egg pudding texture will be. Once your water is to a rolling boil, you can turn down the heat. Carefully place your egg pudding bowl into the pot and make sure that it fits perfectly in there where you can still close the lid completely. And this is where I'm going to put a big old chunk of butter because we're doing the high fat way of eating, and also this is when I was about to have my period, so I was definitely craving for more fat. But if you're doing the 1 stick of butter a day, this is a perfect way to sneak in those fats without really being able to tell or taste it. You can even put in some salt to really help with the cooking steaming process. Close the lid and steam for about 7+ minutes. You do have to kind of keep an eye on it, pat the egg pudding to check if it's a jelly pudding texture yet. But for 4 eggs, I usually steam for about 7 minutes on low-medium heat. Here's the finished product of the egg pudding after steaming for 7 minutes. And as you can see, I topped it with even more butter. So technically, you can actually sneak about 2/3 of a stick of butter like I have here into this dish alone. And if butter triggers you or inflames you, you can swap that butter and fat with ghee. And here's the finished product of the beef short ribs after cooking in the oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 50 minutes total. And here is a pro tip that I highly recommend you do is to eat these ribs at room temperature. Extra high fat and extra crispy by coating the skin with this Thrive Market ghee. So as you can see, I'm just using my hands to coat each of these chicken wings with some ghee on the skin directly. And because ghee can be cooked at much higher temperatures than butter and it won't burn, that's why I'm adding it into the chicken wings while baking in the oven. So we're going to bake at 380 degrees for a total of 45 minutes. If you want it extra crispy, I would do 50 to 55 minutes. And another pro tip is if you want that extremely crispy skin, at the very end, you can high broil, or if you just have a broil setting, just broil for a total of 2 to 5 minutes. For my new high fat carnivores who are just starting this way of high fat eating, I recommend always having some sparkling water on hand because it really helps cut the nausea of all of this fat, especially if you're eating a lot of warm, hot, cooked, melted fats. I have put it into my air fryer, and this is the Cuisinart air fryer that I have been using for years and years, a total of almost 4 years now, and it still works beautifully. And this is consistently the type of steak I get straight out of the air fryer every time. And I cook at 450 degrees Fahrenheit, the air fryer's highest setting, for a total of 7 minutes, and I don't even have to flip. Obviously, you can flip if you want to. You can cut off any type of fat cap from your high fat steaks. Just cut off a piece of that fatty part, and that is cooking oil ready for you to use anytime. So I just coated the grease from that fat cap on my pan to saute up some fried eggs and also my favorite sugar-free sausages from Teton. I think that this is probably the easiest way to add in any extra fat to all of your meals. This is very easy to reach that 1 stick of butter a day guideline if you just cook up your go-to carnivore meals and simply top off as much butter or ghee or animal fat of your choice to those meals. In my case, I'm letting it melt on these hot steaks because I can now tolerate as much fat as I need in any state, melted, cold, frozen, hot, rendered. I'm able to digest and absorb.